Hi guys, it's Aisling and welcome back. Today I am doing the full coverage bulletproof foundation routine. It's going to be all about my foundation, how I apply a flawless face, what products I use, what setting powders I use to achieve the type of makeup that you would want for maybe photography, or maybe if you're going out clubbing, maybe if you're going, you know, somewhere that you're going to be wearing makeup for a long period of time. This is long lasting bulletproof makeup. This is not makeup for I'm going to school. This is not makeup for I'm going to college or going to work. This is a lot of makeup. So if you don't like a lot of makeup, then this video will not be for you. I get asked regularly what my favorite foundation is. It's probably one of the most commonly asked questions I get. What's your favorite foundation? How do you get your makeup to stay like that? How do you get your makeup so full coverage? How do you get your makeup to last all night? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of tips that I have picked up along the way. I mean, there's not too many steps. There's not a whole lot involved in it, but it's just kind of the steps that I take actually make my makeup last that little bit longer. And I feel that they're tips that I picked up like throughout the years. One thing I've learned how to do as I have like progressed with makeup is using a base. I don't think I ever used a base until I started making YouTube videos and started watching more YouTube videos and noticed how many people were actually using bases and primers and stuff like that. Bases and primers are what actually prolongs the longevity of your foundation. You could be wearing as cheap as chips foundation, but if you don't put a base on, it's not going to last. So you're going to obviously blame the foundation. That's what I used to always do, is be like, that foundation is rubbish. But it's actually about how I prep and prime my face prior to putting on any foundation, because I have made foundations like the L'Oreal True Match, the L'Oreal Infallible, which are drugstore brands. I've made those foundations last so long on my skin and look flawless and not cakey. So I'm going to do a video to show you how to go from that, which is my natural face, to that, which is a little bit more put together, a little bit more makeup, a lot more makeup. If you don't like a lot of makeup and you don't like layering products and you don't like setting powders and things like that, this video is not going to be for you, because this is a video for my full coverage gals. So stay tuned to see how I do my full face foundation routine. So before I start out with my full coverage bulletproof makeup, always moisturize my skin. So I've already done that, and I use the Elizabeth Arden Privage moisturizer, and I just apply that all over my face with my fingertips. And make sure, naturally, that your hands are clean before you do that. The next step I always recommend, no matter where or what you're doing, what sort of foundation look you're even going for, but particularly if you want your foundation to last long, you need to go with a primer. There are so many different primers on the market, but two of my favorite ones are the Professional from Benefit and the new Magic Blur Cream from L'Oreal. Together, these are basically like dupes for each other, so obviously the Benefit one being a little bit more high-end. I'm going to take this one today just for a more affordable choice. And when applying my primer, I place it onto my fingertips first off before I put it onto my face, and then I just rub it into my skin like I would if I was moisturizing. The areas you want to focus the most on, well, I focus the most on because of the summertime, oiliness, all of that kind of jazz going on. I focus mostly along my T-zone. So your T-zone being across the bridge of your nose, being your chin, and in between your brows. So they are the areas that I get the most oiliest, and then the areas I want to focus the most on. Now I do get a little bit red around my nose, so I always make sure just to kind of blend in my primer around my nose. What a primer's purpose basically is to fill in any fine lines. It's not going to hide your imperfections, but what it's going to do is just, like I said, fill in any of the pores or any fine lines so that your foundation doesn't seep into them and then become really obvious. So another reason you apply primer to your skin is to prolong the wear of your foundation. So the next step is completely optional. I'm just going to do it for the purpose of this video, but it is to conceal any spots on your face. So as you can see right here, if you have a spot on your skin anywhere, you may want to conceal it. Now I generally would just apply my foundation and it will conceal any of my imperfections or spots because my foundation is so high coverage. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to take the Le Crayon, the Perfect Match concealer from L'Oreal, and it's pretty high coverage and it's of a stick form. So this is just going to go underneath my foundation. So I'm going to apply this over the spot. You can do this two ways. You can take it from the stick or you can apply it to your finger. You do not want to apply a stick concealer like this underneath your eyes or anywhere like that, because it is so thick it will end up caking and creasing. So I have so many favorite foundations, but generally anything high coverage I'm all about. I'm going to take my Estee Lauder Double Wear today for this video because this is a super high coverage foundation. This is a pricey enough foundation, I'm well aware of that, but it is worth every cent in my opinion. I use the smallest amount. A little bit of this goes a long way. If you want something that is like more cost efficient, go with either the True Match or the L'Oreal Infallible. I have great results with them. I don't find they cake or look unnatural, and I just think that they're super affordable. The next product that I love to use to apply my foundation is my beauty blender, and as you can see, mine is pretty stained. It's well loved, but this guy is one of the best products at applying your foundation because you wet the sponge. There's a bit of moisture in it, so you're adding a little bit of moisture back into your skin. I find when I apply my foundation with this, I don't actually have any problems with a breakout of oils around my T-zone, and I'm usually like a sweaty mess in the middle of my face. So I always start on my cheeks with my foundation. What I do is I bounce it along my skin. And I'm using the smallest amount of foundation. With this beauty blender, a little bit goes a long way. So you can kind of see already the difference between this side and this side. Obviously this side's a little bit paler as well. Always match your foundation to the colour of your body, because sometimes your face can be lighter, especially if you use a high SPF like I do if you're abroad or anything like that. Or if you are wearing foundation kind of constantly, then the sun might not hit you and your body will become darker. Or if you wear sunless tanners, make sure you match your face to your body and not your foundation to your face. This is just a really thin layer, just one layer of foundation. I'm making sure to bring my foundation back into my hairline. That's just one layer of foundation. I brought the foundation all over my face, down my jawline to make sure that I don't have a line or anything like that. I bring it onto my eyelids to cancel out any little veins that may be on my eyelids, and I blend it out all over my face just to make it really uniform. If you're happy with one layer of foundation, by all means go ahead, but this is my full coverage foundation routine. I would definitely go with 2 layers so that it looks just a little bit more flawless. Comfortable with one, we'll stick with that. The next step in achieving your flawless full coverage foundation would be to conceal. So I always take my Pro Longwear concealer from M.O.P because it's my all-time favorite full coverage concealer. Mine is in NW20. It's lighter than my foundation because I'm applying it underneath my eyes. I want to brighten up that area. A little bit of this goes a long way, so I just apply a little bit to my ring finger and then just pat it on underneath my eye. I kind of do it in an upside down triangle because I want the light to reflect down that way to make it look like I'm more awake. For a drugstore alternative to this, I would recommend going with the True Match. So just apply a little bit over my lip, a little bit onto my chin, and a little bit in between my brows. Then I'm going to go in with my beauty blender again, and I'm going to blend all that out. So I always apply my concealer after I've done my eye makeup, because if there's any fallout from the eyeshadow, I can easily clean it up. So after going through all that effort and time to apply your foundation and your concealer, the last thing you want for them to do is to budge and crease, so you need to set them down. I'm going to take my M.A.C Mineralized Skin Finish in Natural and the colour Light, and I use that to set my under eye concealer because it is so light. It'll add a little bit more brightness to it and it'll stop it from budging and creasing throughout the day. I'm just patting the product onto that area. I'm not swiping like this because I'm going to move the product around if I do that. But I'm not going to use this light powder anywhere else on the face. Then you want to set your face makeup, and you want to take either a translucent powder or a powder that is the same colour as your foundation. I'm going to go with my Inglot. This is my high definition illuminating loose powder in the number 45. I love setting my face with a brush and I just tap it on. So the next step I always take when I'm trying to achieve my flawless foundation is applying a bronzer, and I'm taking a matte bronzer. This one is number 502 from Inglot. It's my all-time favourite one. I just use that powder to lightly contour my face and to give a little bit of dimension to the face. So I always apply it just underneath my cheekbones. And I'm just kind of bringing it up around the temple as well. And making sure to blend that back into the hairline so that it's not really obvious. So as you can see from this side to this side has a little bit more definition to it. It looks a little bit more sculpted and finished. I'm also going to bring it along the top of my forehead just to warm up my face ever so slightly. Add a bit more colour. So next step is you want to apply some blusher. I'm taking NARS's Orgasm, one of my favourite ones. Just apply that to the apples of the cheeks and just working it back. Finally, I'm going to add a bit of highlighter to the situation, and I'm taking MAC's Soft and Gentle highlighter and a fan brush to apply it. I'm just going to apply that to the tops of my cheekbones to highlight them. It's going to also apply a little bit over my brow and just a little bit over my lip. There you have it, guys. That is my bulletproof full coverage foundation routine. I know there's an awful lot of steps involved in it. I know there's an awful lot of products and product layering, but they are all the steps that I take if I'm going clubbing or if I want my foundation to be flawless for a number of hours. I take that much time and effort to put into my foundation, because if you're going out for a few hours, I mean, you want your foundation to last, you want it to look as flawless, you want to hide all your blemishes, etc, etc. And I have no problem with how much foundation people want to put in their face. Just make it look as natural as possible, you know, without being cakey. I like this amount of foundation if I'm going out, like I said, and if I'm going to work or something, it'll be a lot more toned down. But you do you, and we're all different. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like my foundation routine, give it a thumbs up, because I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out a bunch. And I'll talk to you in my next video then. Bye, guys.